Is Chicago really safe? That is the question I'm asking today. If you have any comments on this subject, please write them down below, but I'm gonna tell you my experience and things that I have seen and how I feel about living in Chicago, about my safety, all of that good stuff. So let's get into it and debunk this story today. Come here. Look who came to join us today. Say hello. She just wants to get fed right now. It's the time, but I'm gonna feed her after this video. This is more important. I feel like a lot of people have mixed feelings about this. I know, like, when I go home, when I see family, they're always telling me, yeah, be safe up there in the city, you know, always wishing me well. And I'm sure we have seen news stories of the crime, the gang violence, the robberies. Chicago's filled with millions of people who live here every day with their family, their loved ones, their friends, and they are perfectly fine. There are pockets of things to look out for sure, but that is the baseline. It's a thriving city with a lot of really well-hearted people in it. Let's just start with the more shadier parts of the city. I think we're all familiar with some of like the crime maps of Chicago. Again, the conversation of Chicago being a weirdly segregated city where way south, the way west, and some pockets even in the north are the demographic is very concentrated for brown and black communities, and there's a lot of crime that happens in some of these areas. A creator that I actually really enjoy, his name is Peter Simonellan. I'm gonna put the name in his video, but I'm gonna link it below. He did a video where he went to the south side of Chicago to Inglewood, and as this white bald dude who kind of looks like a cop, he was like walking around the neighborhood talking to the locals. I really enjoy his perspective on some of the videos that he makes about exploring the US and other different parts, getting perspective of actual local people. And you do look on these crime maps and you see on the news that there is a good amount of gang violence that happens, but it's in these pocket neighborhoods. There is the Citizens app that I have used. If you want to get traumatized every day about everything that's going on everywhere, that app will do that for you. But I would say kind of avoid that negative news often, because you will get a certain perspective on an area just because you're traumatizing your brain with all of these issues. We have to mention the trains. Okay, everyone I know has a red line or a blue line story that is wild or weird. I've seen canines and police stop a whole train to grab one woman, and they were screaming at her for almost an hour. I've seen a homeless guy who got harassed for smelling really bad, and a man literally kicked him off the train and he spilled all his cereal on the floor. It was so sad. It was on New Year's Day too. I was like, oh my God. Things like that happen all the time. Someone maybe peeing in a corner, smoking cigarettes, playing music really loud, selling drugs openly. They're going back and forth through the carts, and you're not supposed to be traveling through that door. They don't care. There's always something going on the train. I try to avoid it personally because I don't like the feeling of being on there. I don't want to engage in the madness. Trust me, if you have your own train story, go ahead and write it down below, because I know you have one. Everyone has one. But I also want to talk about the men, okay? Let me just, men, I don't have anything against men. I think there's a lot of really good men in the world, but there's also a lot of creepy, crossing the line, harassment, catcalling men that I have run into. And that's been one of the biggest issues I've had sometimes, where it's just like creepy guys. I had men who stalk me in their car or try to get me to come in their car, and I have absolutely no clue who you are. I'm like, why would I get in your car, stranger? And I'm like trying to hustle away from them. Yeah, it's just creepy, horny men, I'll be honest. You gotta be careful. I feel safe in my neighborhood. Actually, I live by a police station. There's cameras on the street corners. Like, I feel okay, but I do have pepper spray. I do keep my cautions. I don't engage with that kind of action. And if you're a man and you do that, don't do that. Stop. I'm pretty sure you're watching and you're a wholesome person, okay? And you would never. Another thing I've experienced is like the teen mobs. That happens often. Not often, I wouldn't say often. Whenever there's like a fest of some kind, I just noticed if they're not IDing and they can just drink in the streets, bring their own alcohol, I've just seen masses of teenagers and they're twerking on their cars, they're twerking in the streets, they're half naked, underage drinking, just doing madness, causing chaos and loitering and littering and all of the things, you know. Every year during Pride Parade, whenever that ends, they just don't leave until like the police kick them out at like 2 a.m. And it's always like a news story. I made a video last year about it. I'll link that around, but come on. I just feel like there's like a lack of guidance for them. There's a heart of teens here in Chicago that just need something to do and some more parental like authority. I don't know really, but they need some more resources so that they're not just drinking and partying in the streets, acting ratchet and ghetto. It's honestly because I know they be coming up and you know Pride Fest is up in the whitest neighborhood. And then you got all these black kids just acting ghetto, and I know they're scaring off these white people. It's every year that happens. When it comes to car stuff, I don't have a car, so I don't know that struggle exactly, but I've heard and I've been in like a car crash because there's really bad drivers here in the city. I mean, maybe all cities have like some level of bad driving, but Chicago is pretty bad, and they're constant, like there's constant crashes. You just have to be careful. People like hit your car and run. That's what happened in the situation I was in when they hit a friend's car and they just drove off and they didn't say anything or try to get insurance, of course. With Ubers and stuff, like check who is driving before you just get in their car, and say your name, say like check license plates, all that stuff. Yeah, they say just don't leave your doors unlocked. Don't keep valuables just exposed in the windows of your car. Yeah, I mean, Chicago does have a large amount of homeless that are on the streets. There are some moments where it's like you're walking around, you're trying to engage in your day, but you might be harassed by someone who might be a little more aggressive, maybe tweaking a little bit, not really in their most healthiest mindset. And I hate that. Like there isn't a better solution to that at the moment, but that will happen. You will be walking somewhere downtown in your neighborhood at a grocery store and there'll be someone begging or someone who's just like mentally ill. So that will occur. And even there's immigrants now in Chicago still that may be begging on the side of the street, but they're not harmful. They don't bother anybody. They really are just trying to make it by. One of the real crime stories that I actually did get to like witness the police and the taping, and it was actually pretty scary, was I was at work downtown, and the path that I take every day to get to work, there was a stabbing that happened. A police officer and I guess like a homeless man who was outside of a hotel threatening. He was walking around with like a big machete and was like threatening people at this hotel. And of course the police would come, but no one died, but that was still like a crazy experience. And I was like, I'm not coming into work for a while now because I ain't coming down this path where there's guys with machetes outside. What? That was crazy. Overall, just like mind your business. Mind your goddamn business and be smart. Please be smart. If you're not staring and engaging and talking about just like, don't engage with the madness, and the madness won't find you.
Bruh.
And it's right. I mean, in the city, you do have to have thicker skin. You can't be as willing just to engage with everyone. There are people downtown, especially, who are scamming, who are asking you for money, who want you to sign up for this weird subscription thing, and you're gonna end up in some rabbit hole of something. Like, you gotta stick to yourself. I love sunglasses. Sunglasses, headphones. They won't bother you, okay? They don't even know that you're looking at them. You can't even see them. That's my 101 to minding my business. But ultimately, like, don't live in fear. Like, don't consume all this negative stuff in media and just assume that everywhere is like this. Like, there's a lot of beauty of this city, and that's why I enjoy being here. So stay positive. Don't consume all of that stuff. It's going to be toxic for your brain anyway. So thank you for watching. Again, if you have a crazy story, go ahead and write it down below. I'd love to hear your thoughts. I hope you have an amazing day. And until next time, I'll see ya. Bye.